This tutorial is for 3rd grade, Module 7, Lesson 6. In this lesson, we're going to look at the difference between finding the perimeter of a polygon and the area of a polygon. I have a diagram here, and it is filled with squares. Whenever we show how many squares make up the inside of a shape, we're showing the area of that shape. And you could relate that to our arrays that we make when we're working on our multiplication facts. When we're measuring the distance around the shape, as if we were to crawl around the shape, we are measuring the perimeter of the shape. To find the area, again, I just need to count the squares, or I could look at this as 2 rows of 4. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. When I write my label for my area, I'm going to say that it is 8 square units. I can't give it a measurement label because I don't know how big each square is, so I'm just going to call it units. But notice in my label, I'm referring to those units as square units because that's the definition of area. How many square units make up the inside of the shape? Now, to find the perimeter, I'm going to measure the distance around the shape, as if we were going to crawl all the way around the shape. So crawling along one side would cover 2 units. Crawling across the top would be 4 more units, then another 2 on the side, and then 4 more on the bottom. To find the total perimeter, I just need to add these measurements. Well, 2 plus 4 is 6, and then another 2 is 8, and 8 plus 4 is 12. So the perimeter is 12 units. Now I don't use square units for this label because I'm measuring the side of each square, not the total square. So this is just a line that I'm measuring. So that line all the way around the polygon is 12 units long. Now we can use that example to help us describe how to find both the perimeter and the area of a shape. How do we find the perimeter of a shape? Well, we decided we needed to measure the length of each side of the shape and find that sum. Now, to describe how we would find the area of a rectangle, if we refer back to that example, it was 2 rows of 4. In other words, we can find the area of a rectangle by multiplying the length times the width. 2 times 4 gave us an area of 8 square units, and we got that by measuring the length times the width. In the next section, we're going to decide if each statement is describing the perimeter or if it's describing the area. The first statement says the inside of a shape. When we measure the area of a shape, we're measuring how many squares make up the inside of the shape. When we're measuring the distance around the shape, we're measuring the perimeter. A fence around a yard could be considered the perimeter of the yard since the fence outlines the yard just like a line around a polygon. When we multiply the length times width, we are finding how many squares fill up the shape, and that's area. If you think about the carpeting covering a room, that carpet would cover the inside of the area of the room, and so we would say that that's describing area. If we were to add all sides, we're measuring the perimeter. So that's the difference between area and perimeter. The last section says circle the 2 shapes with the same area. So just as a reminder, to find area, we're going to take the length times the width. In my first rectangle, I have 7 times 3, so that will be 21 square centimeters. The second rectangle, I have 8 times 3, that would be 24 square centimeters. In my last rectangle, I have 6 times 4, and that would also be 24 square centimeters. So the last two rectangles have the same area. So notice the length of each side of the rectangle can be different, but they can still have the same area.